Reflective writing, keeping in touch with yourself and your students. We have here Ms. Nallely Garza Rodriguez, holds a major in applied linguistics and didactics and master in education granted by UNL, from which she was awarded the best thesis dissertation in education in UNL. Also, she has taught both ESL and content-based courses in different levels and ages. She specializes in academic writing, applied research, literature, and psychology courses. She has also participated as a speaker in different conventions of English teaching and education research. Currently, she is working as a professor in the major of language sciences at UNL, and she is a PhD candidate for an educational psychology program. I would like to give her an applause to start.
Well, welcome. So as you might see, the topic is about reflective writing, and I added this title like keeping in touch with yourself and your students. So, well, let me see. So what are the objectives of this session? We have three main objectives. The first one is to define reflective writing as a new approach for teaching and learning. Then we're going to present some ideas to work with journals to promote reflective writing and to demonstrate the use of reflective writing through journals as an excellent way to connect with your inner teacher, student, and your students. So this dichotomy of teacher-student thing, because we're always learning about ourselves and about teaching. So we have these pictures. So these are supposed to be teachers. Mm-hmm. Yes. And the question goes here about how many times do we actually reflect about ourselves? Do you reflect about your teaching? Yes. Be honest. Mm-hmm. Yes. A little. Not much. Yes. Have you ever reflect about how you become? How did you become teachers? What were the circumstances that led you to become teachers? Yes? Are you teachers because life made you become teachers? Or are you teachers because you are passionate about being teachers? Yes? So all of us, we have our own story, right? Like how we become teachers. And the circumstances probably they are different. And that is like one way in which we can start our reflection about our own profession. Yes. However, there are many other things that we can take into account when we talk about reflecting. Well, this is ourselves. So can you tell me what are some of the things that we can reflect about, like as teachers? Yes?
Well, first of all, if we are achieving our own goals and student goals.
Okay, so related to our classes, like daily classes, do we really achieve what we planned? Yes, what we were supposed to achieve in a certain course or in a certain class? Any other thing that we can reflect about?
The way we assess our students.
Okay, the ways we assess our students, if we are making like a good assessment, if we are actually evaluating what we are teaching, yes, or if we are evaluating something else that we can reflect on as teachers.
Maybe is this helping my students? Like, okay, I feel the books and everything. Will this help them to communicate in real life?
So is this helpful? Is this actually going to give me the goals that I want? Can I change? Can I change some of these strategies or some of these techniques that I'm using? And if they are not working, well, what can I do about it, right? So there are several things that we can reflect on. And then we have here our students. Yes? Do our students reflect? Not that much sometimes. Now, the thing here is that, do they reflect? Well, we don't know. Probably yes, probably no, sometimes, yes. Now, the important question here in this workshop is, do we make them reflect? Probably not. That's why they don't reflect. Yes? And this is what we are here, to make them, or to learn also how to make our students reflect. Yes? So sometimes, and this is something that happens really frequently. Sometimes we suppose things. We teachers sometimes we tend to suppose, like, well, they will think about what they learn. They should do this, they should do that. But do they know how to do it? Did someone actually tell them how to do it or teach them how to do it? Probably not. Yes? And probably if we as teachers, we are not this reflective kind of teacher, we cannot teach them how to do it. Yes? So as teachers, we reflect about a variety of things. What can students reflect about?
Why are they in a class?
Why are they studying in English? Yes, why are they studying English? Any other thing that they can reflect about?
They are learning.
If they are learning, what they are learning, yes. If it's helpful, what they are learning, like what is this? Like am I actually going to use this? Yes, like when we were math students, yes, and we were learning the derivadas and I don't know what. So you say like, what am I learning this? How am I going to use it? So why is the teacher teaching me this? Yes. So, well, here we have like students also reflect, yes, or they need to reflect, but sometimes we don't promote in our classroom that reflection, yes, and sometimes we think about what we do or what we did, if it was okay, if it was not, but I will say that we teachers, we are not used to reflect either. We think about things, but we don't reflect on things. Okay. So what? You're not sleeping, right? No? Are you sure? Because if not, I start with some warm-up activities because in this workshop you will have to write and reflect. That's why it's a workshop, right? So I don't want to see you sleeping because then I give you a...
You can play some music if you want to.
Okay, I like dancing, so we can dance. So I'm the kind of teacher who likes putting my students to dance. So if you don't like dancing, you better participate. That's what I say by students. Okay, so first we have this question. What is reflective writing? So the first thing, so we're going to do this as a process, okay? So I'm going to start giving you some little writing tasks. Yes, and then at the end, we're going to make this process of reflection, okay? So, first we have this question. Do you all have papers to write? And if not, I have some papers here, like blank papers. Do you need some? Yes? Somebody else needs some paper? Yes? Please tell me you have pens.
Thank you.
Well, if not, I will tell you like my students, so why are you here then? Oh,
Okay. This is very good.
yes.
Anyone?
Scholarship.
Okay, so we have this question.
Don't worry. I'll sit
It
there.
says, write what you believe writing is in the following 3 minutes. So you will have 3 minutes to write about writing. Yes?
Okay.
Okay? So what does writing mean to you? What do you think writing is? What do you think writing is useful for? So everything you can write about writing in 3 minutes. Okay? Time is running. Okay, thanks, mother. So, it's not that easy, right? You thought 3 minutes, that's too much, right? But I was thinking about giving you 1 minute, so probably you wouldn't have even started a sentence. So, okay, so now that you have your opinion about writing, okay, I want you to share with the people next to you. Yes, it can be 3 or pairs, yes? So I want you to share what you wrote about writing, okay? So 1 minute, okay? Okay, thanks, Summer. Okay, so you share your writing. Did you write similar ideas about writing with your partner? Yes, or not? No, really? Okay, can you tell me what are the things that you find different in your
Right,
text?
well, she can read hers and I can read mine. And you
Okay.
Can see. Go ahead. So different.
It's like, well, I don't know. It's difficult for me. I just wrote like, I think that writing is a group of ideas well structured with different purposes that you can read anytime to remember them.
Okay.
And, well, you need to have a target reader.
Okay.
And then I didn't know what else to write.
Okay. And
Mine
then
was
you
just gibberish, I just like,
I think I
writing is a basic form of communication, one that has been perfection throughout human history, through humankind. As a race, we are the diverse of one. As a result, this reflects on our writings. Examples are poems, essays, manuscripts, formal, informal, and academic works. As a conclusion, writing is an essential form of communication that is absolutely necessary.
That was
fast writing.
Probably he loves writing.
It's really different, like, he Googled it.
Did you check Wikipedia? No, probably you're very into writing.
I like grammar.
You like grammar, you like writing, probably you like reading. That's why you mentioned this thing about literature and all these things.
Just different forms of writing.
Yes, so we have different points of view, but probably basically everybody said something about communication, a paper, transmission, expression, yes.
It involves some skills.
Some skills, and we have like, it involves a receptor, right? Like, if you're writing, who are you writing to? It could be yourself, but it could be somebody else, okay? So, this thing about writing is interesting because later you will see how these connections and how the beliefs of people are reflected through writing, yes? So, nobody said that writing is boring. Probably your students will. Yes, I have done this activity with my students and they said, well, I think that writing is a very difficult thing to do and it's really boring and I don't want to take this boring class about writing. So, well, we prepare you in case you do this with your students, they wouldn't have those very positive comments about writing. So now, we already know what writing is, some of the common concepts like it's a process that it involves communication in a written form, yes, and it is just to remember things probably later on, okay? So now, that is writing in general. Now, what is reflective writing? So reflective writing is an innovative technique that is used in academic writing courses, okay? Also, it involves an exploration and explanation of an event. So, it is called reflective because we are going to reflect about a certain specific event, yes? And to explore or explain. But the most important thing about reflective writing is that it is used to reflect on cognitive learning, experiences, attitudes, and feelings related to that experience. So, it is not to say that reflective writing is writing about something or writing about an event. But reflective writing, it includes the cognitive process, the cognitive learning, the experiences that you have through that event, the attitudes and feelings that you had while experiencing that event. So it's not that easy, okay? And later reflect on that, yes? And write your own process, okay? So that is reflective writing. So, so what are other things that are reflective writing? So we have that in order to do reflective writing, we need to do reflective thinking, yes? And critical thinking, if we're able to achieve the last part of the pyramid, yes? So we have you revised your experiences, like revise what you have experienced. Then to mention or to write about those attitudes, beliefs, assumptions that you have in that experience. And then justify those actions. It is, for example, if I ask you, I don't know, tell me about a problem you had with your best friend, right? And then you start describing that event. And then you say something about the relationship that you had with your best friend, and then how you felt because you fought with her and everything. And then you write up to there. And then I ask you, okay, what would you have done differently? Or why did you react in that way? Justify your actions. Were they good? Were they bad? What will you have done different? So in that moment, you're doing reflection. You're doing this critical thinking. It's not like, well, it's because we thought about blah, 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 blah. Well, but what else? Okay, so later we're going to see those processes. So we already said that reflective writing is your response to experiences, opinions, or events. Your response to thoughts and feelings